Welcome to the Double J podcast presented by Lake Central Media. We are back on our daily Tuesday runnings here. Jack, Theo, and Giovanni once again. And really, if we're going to be honest with you guys, we had nothing for this show until yesterday. And yesterday, I think we all know what happened. We're going to start off with the NFL. Kyler Murray has stated he will be dedicated to the NFL, which is a lot of curiosity because spring training is starting 40 days. But he is going to return some of that signing bonus back to the Oakland A's, and he is going to enter the draft and focus his career on football. He said earlier in the year he was going to enter the draft, but we didn't know how serious he was. He just told us how serious he was. Giovanni, Kyler Murray making some noise and honestly probably messed up a lot of mock drafts.
Yes, he did. And, Jack, do you think he goes top 10 in the NFL draft?
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm a man of bold takes. And if you all remember, the new head coach to the Cardinals, Cliff Kingsbury, what did he say? He said, if I would have the number one pick, I would take Kyler Murray.
But that's after only a year of Josh Rosen?
Number two, a fact right here. His agent is the same as Cliff's. Kyler Murray and Cliff had the same agent. Now, yes, we saw Rosen for a year, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Cardinals take him, but if I'm going to be honest, he is a top 10 pick. If it's not the Cardinals, I do think the Giants should bank on him, even though the Giants said he's too small. They said he could be a little small. There was also the Jaguars. But I think he is a top 10 pick. I think he can run the ball. He can throw the ball. And I really think he's going to be a great quarterback in the NFL.
I have a bold pick, too. The Buccaneers, it might be time to give up on Jameis Winston. You'll see where I'm going with this in a second. The Bucs are in the top 10. I believe they're at 5, if memory serves. They're high up there.
The record was that bad this year?
Yes,
really?
The Bucs are not that great.
They started great, and now look at that. Wow.
I mean, if you remember, it was basically Ryan Fitzpatrick. If he had a bad game, it's Jameis Winston.
Fitzmania.
Yep. Do you think that maybe the Bucs are going to be tired of Jameis Winston, saying we've seen enough of him, and draft him? And who knows? Maybe they try and put some pressure on Jameis Winston by bringing him in. To be honest, I don't think that ever works.
No.
We saw the Ravens try that with Joe Flacco.
If he's there, I would love to get him. But, Jameis Winston's been an interesting story. You go back to college, stealing crab legs. I don't understand that. And then we go to a few years back with the incident with the Uber driver. And then he came back against the Bears. He played the third quarter. Then he got benched. So I do think it's time to give up on Jameis Winston. I've never been a fan of him. And if Kyler Murray is there, maybe you bank on him, or maybe you go for a Nick Foles, maybe a quarterback that's been already developed. And because the Buccaneers do have some pieces that could, potentially maybe make some noise in the NFL.
And one thing, all those things you brought up, those aren't even football related. Jameis Winston
He's been a very
inconsistent, it would be putting it generously. Jameis Winston, if you look up some of his throws, it's awful. You know how many games has he had where he throws 2 or 3 plus picks?
He did make a sound as a rookie, but if I'm being honest, Kyler Murray, as a bold take, I put him at number 1. But if I'm being honest here, I think the Giants should take him. I think him, Odell Beckham, Saquon Barkley, Evan Ingram, Sterling Shepard. Maybe they add someone else there as well. I think the Giants are going to be something next year. They just need the right quarterback, and I really don't think Eli Manning is the right fit anymore.
And here's the thing about the Giants. I put them on this list too. Giants and Jags were the 2 teams that stuck out to me. The Giants, are they really going to be, I don't know what the right word here to use is, they really going to be naive enough to...
They got to take a quarterback.
Are they really going to be naive enough to not take a quarterback, but better yet to stick with Eli Manning? I get it. Eli Manning won 2 Super Bowls. It's hard to move on, but... It's time.
They've got 2 quarterbacks they can take, Dwayne Haskins and Kyler Murray. Now, if I'm being a scout, I'd rather have Kyler Murray. But a lot of people think that size thing is a problem. You look at size and quarterbacks. The last 2 quarterbacks, I believe, in the first round taken that were 6 foot or below was Mike Vick and Johnny Manziel. Now, we all know how Johnny Manziel ended up. But honestly, if you're comparing Mike Vick and Kyler Murray, I think you compare a lot of things similar to both of those quarterbacks.
Yes, indeed. And NFL season is over now.
It was over, and then it started up yesterday.
That's what I love about the NFL. It seems like it almost never ends. There's always some drama going on. And yesterday, this one shocked me. Not that Kareem Hunt was signed, although it should shock some people. I'll get into that in a second. Kareem Hunt signs with the Cleveland Browns. Jack, did this shock you?
Kareem Hunt, no. Browns, maybe. You look at the Browns' backfield. It's a very young backfield with Chubb and Duke Johnson Jr.
How do you think Nick Chubb felt about this?
Yeah, he honestly had the starting role all to himself. It's interesting. They got Kareem Hunt for nothing. They got him for 1 year and over $1 million. That's it. And that's the deal I would expect him to get. Now the Browns, I'm a little curious. It seems like a lot of teams are going to the 2 running back offense. You look at the Bears with Cohen and Howard. You look at the Falcons when healthy, Freeman and Coleman. The Colts did a little bit with Mack and Hines.
Patriots, James White and
Sony Michel. You look at some teams and it seems like they're starting to do the 2 run back system, but it's a steal for the Browns. I think you're adding Kareem Hunt, who in my mind is a top 5 running back in the NFL. People just don't think that anymore because of what happened. And yes, he is going to be suspended some games, but this offense is going to be insane. In my mind, I think this offense can be a top 10 right now. I mean, I really love David Njoku as tight end, Jarvis Landry, and now you're bringing Chubb. Chubb, who was actually a top rookie running back, and he didn't get to play the whole year. Now you bring Kareem Hunt, and you got Baker Mayfield together. It's a scary team, and especially since Hunt didn't cost them anything. It really didn't cost them anything when they have the most money in the NFL right now.
And I've always been an advocate of second chances. I don't believe that Kareem Hunt should never play a snap in the NFL again. Yes, what he did was awful. I'm sure everyone listens probably know what he did by now. Maybe you've seen the video. Yes, it's awful. But one thing I need to say is this. Listen, at this point, Colin Kaepernick's never going to get signed again.
Sad.
But isn't it kind of sad that this guy has not been out of the league for...
Eric Reed also got signed.
Yeah. Kareem Hunt's been out of the league for what? Not even 3 months?
He missed the last 3 or 2 weeks, I think, and then that's it. And then the playoffs, so about the last 2 months.
And this is because... And Kareem Hunt was cut because he...
Yeah, he kicked a girl, and, it's not right to do that, but...
But Colin Kaepernick, listen, what the NFL is telling me is this. It's okay to...
Kick a girl.
It's okay to kick a girl.
But
it's okay to beat up...
But it's not okay to make a stand.
It's okay to beat up someone in an elevator. It's okay... But it's not okay to kneel for the anthem. No, that gets you kicked out of the league.
It's,
I'm sorry.
Dorsey, the Browns GM, I'm pretty sure that's his name. He said him and Hunt have had a relationship since he was in college. So it's interesting to see what this will do. I really think Cleveland is excited. They're going to finally have a football team that should be doing good. But I think this is a great move by the Browns. Maybe now you trade Duke Johnson for maybe, picks.
I don't know. This Browns team next year, I think they can do...
It's scary. I think they could win a division.
Yeah, the Steelers, who knows what the future holds for them. And the Ravens,
who knows if we get a repeat of what Lamar was.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe a lot of people compared him to Tim Tebow.
Who? Lamar?
Yes.
Yeah.
Tim Tebow had that.
Tim Tebow was a big dude. You got to remember the body.
Although Tim Tebow did win a playoff game against the Steelers.
You got to remember how big of a guy Tim Tebow was. And Jackson's not that big, but still, I don't know if you compare both of them, but...
I mean, they both turned around the season.
It's both, yes.
Substantially.
It's close, both. I give them, that's a good comparison if you're thinking about it. But, yeah, I don't know. I think Tim would win that comparison more because he's just a built man. I mean, you can't tackle that sometimes.
Well, moving on to Major League Baseball. How many weeks in a row have we talked about this? And still no...
And pitchers and catchers are reporting today, everybody. Wow, it's been an amazing... offseason, even though nothing's happened.
Yeah, it's been the anticipation of where will Bryce Harper and Manny Machado sign, and we're still anticipating where they will sign.
I saw this on Twitter the other day. See, this... I don't get this. A lot of people have sources. And this guy who is in Dominican Republic said Machado will sign with the White Sox. I guess he's a real source and everything. And then I saw this on Twitter, someone's Instagram story. It was like a White Sox with a footy for a baby and tagged Machado at the bottom. I don't get this. I don't mean to pick on both these players. There's other players as well that aren't signing. But I really don't know what you're doing. I mean, I really don't think the longer you wait, the deals are going to get better because teams are just sick of it. They're going to worry about the season ahead of them. If you don't want to play for them, then don't play for them.
And I did see a report that neither of these guys want to sign first, apparently.
Because I bet you one of them wants the bigger deal. No one wants to go out shorthanded. But it's pathetic, I think, in general, for professional athletes to act like this. I mean, it's not going to, like, change. I mean, they're not going to offer you, like, $400 million just because you won't sign with them. If you don't want to sign them by spring training, they'll just take it away. They just save money on guys who might want to actually play with them. Because if you aren't signing with them right away, or it's taking you this long to figure out when all the deals you're getting are mostly the same, and you visited these ball clubs for the last 2 weeks or a month, you got to know who you want to play for. If it's taking you this long, then what are you doing? It shows that you don't want to play for these teams. It's showing that you want a better team to offer you something.
Yeah. At this point, listen, I'm not trying to question whether these two want to play baseball. I'm sure they.
No, I'm sure they do.
I'm sure they're itching to get back out there and sign with the team. But again, I do believe that report that neither of these guys want to sign first. And again, it seems like me and Jack are just going after these two, but these are the two big ones.
And there's other guys like Dallas Keuchel also, I think. And another thing I look at was the NFL situation with Aaron Donald and Khalil Mack. I mean, Aaron Donald was the highest paid defensive player for a day. And here comes Khalil Mack. And I'm sure he didn't care about it, but still, I mean, this thing has just got to stop. These guys need to sign by this week because, like I said, pitchers and catchers are coming today. They're in Arizona right now. All the analysts and guys who cover these teams, they're all in their spring training places as of now. And the players are probably coming next week. I mean, you got to figure this crap out if you're Machado or Harper. I mean, Machado, it's only two teams, as we know. Phillies and White Sox. But Harper's got a lot of teams that we don't know about. We've been hearing Padres, Phillies, White Sox, the Giants now. So for Machado, it looks most toward the White Sox if we're going off of odds and stuff. We don't know about Harper, though. But really, I just don't know what these guys are waiting for. I understand that they don't want to be short, the guy that comes out with the least money, because these are both probably the best free agents we've had in a very long time.
This free agent class was hyped for a
long
time.
And it's hyped, but it's acting like a 2-year-old child. I mean, it's just terrible. You got to sign. I mean, just got to.
Now, do you think they'll be signed by the next time we're talking about this?
I really hope, because if they're not, it's just pathetic in my mind. It shows me that you care about money more than the game.
And I'm gonna say this too, Jack. If they don't sign by next week, I think we might just stop talking about this.
It's just, I just don't know what they're.
That's obviously a lie. We're still gonna talk about it.
I really don't think, for White Sox, Rick Hahn and, Reinsdorf are really going to be like, crap, he's not signing with us. We got to give him more money. They don't care. They'll just give some other guy money. I mean, they don't even need him, even though it'd be nice to have him.
And Jared Reinsdorf is known for being
But yeah, he is. But he has offered Machado and Harper the money they want. That's the thing. It's just I don't know what they're waiting for. I don't know if they're. I really don't know. It's getting annoying by now.
Well, now we head to the NCAA college basketball.
It was interesting this week for me.
Yep, very interesting. And March Madness is coming soon. Today is February 12th. The tournament starts.
Conference tournament start in 2 weeks.
Yep. Tournament starts
this is insane.
In a month.
Jeez.
Which team has the best chance to win the tournament come March? As of right now. This could change drastically.
I have to go with Duke. I watched.
That's the easy answer, right?
It's not easy. It's just I watched them play against Virginia Saturday night, 2-3 at Virginia, a place where you get suffocated because their defense is insane there. Those freshmen are just insane. R.J. Barrett hit 5 threes in a row to start off the game. Cam Reddish was hitting his threes. Then there's Trey Jones, who's actually not bad as well. Wait, I'm not done yet. Then there is Zion Williams. I cannot believe how good this dude is. I mean, LeBron, Rondo, Jay-Z, all these guys come to see this guy. But the one thing that made me go, wow.
Zion, did you hear what Zion said about how he didn't know LeBron was there?
I'm sure he didn't. I mean, he's focused on the game. But if you saw the replay of that block he had late in that game, that's just unfair. This guy, this team, beginning of the year, freshmen they struggle. We can agree on that. Freshmen begin to struggle in the beginning of the year. But they have gelled so well where this team's a juggernaut in my mind. And I'd love to see them play Tennessee. 2 teams, good teams. I'd love to see that matchup, as Tennessee does have a great matchup. They're at Rupp Arena against Kentucky this Saturday as well.
That's a big game for them.
But Duke is my favorite as of now, just because these freshmen are insane.
And we'll see how the bracket shapes up come tournament time.
And one thing I just want to add real quick, you can't guard them all.
Nope.
You're going to double team Zion. That leaves Reddish open. Reddish can hit threes. That's going to leave Trey Jones open. He can shoot threes. That's going to leave RJ open. He can do both. It's impossible. I really don't know who can stop this team. I really want to see this team lose, but this team is insane. It's probably one of the best college basketball teams I've seen since the 1 year Kentucky went undefeated with – no, not that year. The year Kentucky had John Wall and DeMarcus Cousins. That team was insane.
That was insane. And sticking with Duke, Jack, when you wrote this down, I was a bit puzzled. Is Zion Williamson already one of the greatest to play college basketball?
Now, I'm going to go – I think he is a top 10. I do. I do, just because I look at the past guys that have played college basketball, like Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Michael Jordan. I include Vince Carter in that because he was amazing in there. But, by the end of the year, I don't know if we've ever seen anyone this athletic and this big and this strong. And somebody I really don't know, Giovanni, if we've ever seen somebody like this guy before. And, his stats are good. If he could develop his shooting, I definitely think he's a top 5. But I think if he continues this all the way throughout March Madness, even though it's only going to be, only a 1 year, like stay and go thing, I do think if he sticks this up, scores about 30 or 20 points a game, gets 11 rebounds like always, 4 or 5 assists, I do consider him as a top 10 player in college basketball history.
I would not go that far yet. I think the better argument would be made most dominant college basketball player ever.
But if you're dominant, I always think you're always one of the greatest to play as well.
That
and
is
it's not
true.
like he's a ball hog. He's passing too.
No. Yeah.
It's not like he's got, like 40 points and 1 assist like my 2K My Career guy. But, he's a guy he's a facilitator, but also a dominant guy that you do not want to get in front of.
And that's probably why he's going to go number 1, because he can do it all.
And he's going to bring a lot of money to the market.
Oh, yes, he is. And we've never discussed this.
Football is back and better than ever.
Yep.
The AAF, the Alliance, a new football league that I did not know about. First, what is this football league? It's a football league that I'm going to put this in sinful terms. That's a football league exposing the NFL, I think so. With all these rule changes, it's a football league that lets you go in depth. It lets you hear the coach's calls, the quarterback's calls. It lets you hear the officials up in the booth or whatever.
During the replays.
Yeah, during the replays. No kickoffs. You have to go for 2, I'm pretty sure. And if you're trailing, I think with 4 minutes left, or it's like a 12-point game, you cannot punt. I really like this league. It's going to be rough because this is like the minor leagues of the NFL.
And to be clear, this is not competition to the NFL at all.
No, it's not competition. No, but
I think this is a
great thing. This is a great thing. There's 8 teams. Some teams are being affiliates to the NFL teams, but you got to realize these are minor leagues. This is like the minor. This is like
it's like AAA and AA baseball.
It's
teams.
more AAA, I'd say. You hear guys like Trent Richardson, Christian Hackenberg, Zach Mettenberg. I mean, you hear all these guys that you heard from college and the NFL that just didn't make it, but now they're in this league. I watched the games. They're actually fun. I know you all saw that big hit on Saturday night. I don't even know who was it. It was like San Diego and San Antonio. But, and people are criticizing that because it's saying we want violence. It's not saying we want violence. It's saying we want football. Because if you're just going to touch the quarterback and call it roughing the passer, that's just some blasphemy.
Jack, I don't know if you guys have seen that hit, but can you imagine if that happened to Aaron Rodgers?
Rodgers? Would get fined like $2 million.
If that happened to Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady, they would be in the electric chair that night, and they would be sentenced to death.
I think this is a great league to keep in touch with. It goes to April, I think. I'm not sure.
Opening weekend was this weekend.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about.
The games are Saturdays and Sundays. And they got a lot of TV sponsorships.
CBS Sports
TNT
Network.
I saw too, I think, as well.
Yep.
But this is a great thing. I think this is going to go out good. Now, and it's no competition in the NFL, but...
No, people misconstrued it as that. This is not competing with the NFL.
This is something good. I mean, the teams you probably don't know of, I'm rooting for the Orlando Apollos because there's some of their name guys, and Austin Appleby, a quarterback that used to go to Purdue.
I'm rooting for Birmingham.
So, I know, I mean, I don't know any of these teams. It'd be nice if they were, like, close to us. But the closest team is probably there's no teams by us. They're all in the West. But It's cool. These guys, they're playing in, college stadiums. But it's just a fun thing to watch. Saturdays and Sundays, there's still football. So we'll see, how good this will last. And maybe, hopefully, there's another year after this one.
All right. Now it is time for Fact or Fiction. I like this one, not as much as last week, but I don't think we'll spend as much time as it. First one, Paul George is an MVP candidate. Fact. I'll start this one off. Last 12 games, he has scored basically 30 points in every single game except for 2 of them. He had 47 points not too long ago. I believe it was against Houston. I might be wrong about that. But
the other night.
My point is this. Paul George is absolutely the best player on the Thunder, I think he is
I'm sure Magic's a little quiet about that one.
Paul George, remember when Paul George was all but set in stone he was going to the Lakers?
So MVP candidate is top 3, right? MVP candidate's top 3?
Yeah.
I do think so too. My top 3 would be Paul George, James Harden, and I'm going to be a little shocker. I think Joel Embiid should get some credit. 28 points, about 12 or 13 rebounds a game, 5 or 6 assists. But also a wild card, Nikola Jokic. But yeah, Paul George, he's been amazing. He's a guy that only made how many 3-pointers in the 3-point contest last year to a guy that's hitting about 9 or 10 a game. I mean, this guy's insane. He's been balling out. Him and Russell have been clicking. I'm kind of glad he stayed with OKC. There's some diversity now in the West, and I don't think the Warriors are cut clear of going to the finals, especially if the Thunder keep playing like this with Russell and Paul George. And don't forget, Russell Westbrook is averaging that triple-double. Don't forget.
Third straight season. Markelle Fultz, Fact or Fiction.
No, I saw this. Markelle Fultz will be the biggest bust ever. Is this in general, like every sport, or just the NBA?
NBA. Let's just stick with that.
It's debatable, because I also look at Anthony Bennett from UNLV when the Cavs drafted him. I think, he's the second biggest bust. I give it to Anthony Bennett, number 1. He showed some sparks, with the layups and, the passing and the defense. He couldn't shoot for his life. But I don't think he's...
That's being very generous.
But I do think Anthony Bennett is the biggest bust I've ever seen in the NBA.
Biggest bust ever is Jamarcus Russell. That's why I would not say
That's why I was wondering if this is in general NBA or just
Markelle Fultz, you cannot say he's the biggest bust ever because he's only been in the league 2 years. I know, it feels like an eternity.
And at least he's played,
It has not been an eternity. But if he doesn't at least do something with the Magic, develop into a role player. Develop into someone that comes in for 10 minutes a game and plays defense. Do something.
Magic gave a lot for him. First round, second round pick.
Yeah, they clearly still see something in him. He was drafted number 1 overall over Jason Tatum and Lonzo Ball.
Hey, Lonzo Ball should have been drafted over him. I do think of that. Jason Tatum's been quiet as well this year.
Yes, but honestly...
I think we just forgot about these guys,
And to be honest, if Markelle Fultz does not do anything with the Magic, he, to me, goes down as the biggest bust ever.
He's going to start.
Might be the biggest bust ever in the NBA just because...
Anthony Bennett was nothing.
Just because of this. Both of us saw those videos of him doing jump shots, right? It looked awful.
Yeah, I really can't understand why his jump shot was that bad. I mean, he was a stud in college at Washington. He was balling up everybody in that Pac-12. Yeah, but I don't put him as my biggest bust ever in the NBA.
All right, Duke will run the table.
I already said this, yes. These freshmen are growing and growing and growing, and it's getting nastier and nastier and nastier. Zion's getting better and better and better. All these guys are. And Cam Reddish is now actually getting some spotlight by hitting threes. Trey Jones is actually playing like the top 10 pick. He was sponsored, I guess that would be the correct wording. I do think they will run the table. But, Duke has some fails in the NCAA tournament. They lost to a 15 seed. They lost to South Carolina years ago. They lost to I can't remember them.
A lot of upsets happened in March Madness.
I really can't. I can't even remember the team. But still, my point is, and that's the thing. These guys are only freshmen, so these guys can maybe not live up to the expectations. Especially, we can both agree playing in March Madness is so much different than playing in a regular season game.
That's why I never really take the regular season with such a grain of salt.
But I really think the conference tournament is like a preview of what March Madness is like.
That's fair to say. No, I don't think Duke will run the table. They still have to face 3 ranked teams.
Who do you think will run that table?
What do you mean?
What team do you think will run the table then, if you don't think Duke?
Tennessee.
Really? We'll see this Sunday then, or Saturday.
I think Tennessee has a chance.
We'll see if they can prove it.
And Duke still has the biggest target on their back.
Oh, yeah.
And they're still college kids.
Most definitely they've had the biggest target when Zion committed there.
Oh, yes.
Right when he committed there, that's when everybody said we want to take Duke down. And only one team or two teams had done that, Syracuse and the Zags.
Yep. And this is my favorite one. The XFL, Fact or Fiction, and AAF, American Alliance Football, as we were talking about earlier, will merge in the near future.
Fiction. I'm just going to establish this. The XFL has already established the 8 teams they're going to use, and they already have a head coach and GM. Stoops, or whoever you guys remember from the Oklahoma days. I don't think so. If I look at the XFL, and you know who's running it, it's Vince McMahon. And he can be a little hard-headed at times. We know that. And I don't think they're going to merge. But the weird thing is both of these leagues will be happening during the same time next year. I don't think they'll merge, but it's going to be interesting how this goes. I have not heard any TV deals with XFL. We do figure the CBS, to stick with, what's it called, the AAF. So we'll see. I don't think they'll merge because I think Vince McMahon wants the money all to himself. He doesn't want to split it with anybody. And they've already got almost everything established. So I don't think they're going to ruin that just to join this one league who maybe they could overtake.
I'm going to go fact on this one. Vince McMahon, yes, he's very hard-headed. If you used to keep
You just go back to 2001 as well, the XFL.
Yeah. Not even that, just some of his decisions in WWE.
Well, that stuff's scripted, though. I mean...
Yes, but I don't follow it as closely as I used to, but some of the decisions they've made are questionable. But getting back to this, Vince McMahon loves money. That's all the man thinks about is how he can make more money.
I mean, I think
that's not just my opinion.
That's just a human mind.
That's just a human That's not
mind.
my opinion. That is something people have come out and said. All he thinks about is how he can make more money. If these two leagues merge, I think not next year, but in the near future, I think it will happen.
What do you do about the teams that he's already established? That some of these teams already are in the same place as these AAF teams. Like, what do you do about that? That's the thing. You can't. They already established this league. I don't think they're going to merge. I think they're just going to leave it alone.
You could argue that, but I think Vince McMahon will figure it out because this could make more money than. And yes, he would have to split it.
I think it makes more money than the AAF. I certainly do. I think it will. I think it makes a lot more money than the AAF. The XFL is going to be something that everyone wants to watch.
Yeah, you know what?
And as people said that in 2001, and it went the other way.
Yeah. Does Magic Johnson fail as general manager, fact or fiction, if he doesn't get a star next year?
Yes.
I agree.
The plan was to get LeBron and another star. You cleared up enough space to keep Kuzma, Ingram, Ball, and a bunch of other guys, and have room for 2 max contracts. You already failed Paul George. Anthony Davis could be a fail as well. You can't bank Klay Thompson on coming because he wants a max contract, which goes in the Lakers' favor, but you can't bank on it. Kawhi Leonard has expressed he doesn't want to play in L.A. Jimmy Butler has expressed he doesn't want to play in L.A. I do think you fail as a GM if you don't get one more star or even make the playoffs next year. No matter who you get, if you don't get anyone, you need a star or not, you need to make the playoffs next year. I mean, you have LeBron freaking James. I mean, what else can you ask for? You have and you look at a supporting cast. It's not a bad supporting cast. I mean, we can both agree Kyle Kuzma has definitely made a name for himself this year. Brandon Ingram could probably, improve a little bit. Lonzo Ball's been out with injuries. But I think if they don't even make the playoffs next year, I think he should be fired.
I'm going to say fact just because of the promises he made. He said he would get 2 superstars. He got LeBron, but you got to get someone else. Klay Thompson, Kawhi Leonard, Kyrie, maybe. You got to get someone.
It needs to be someone young because we don't know how long LeBron has left in the tank. I mean, he's probably missed the most games he has in a long time this year.
Yeah, LeBron James was known as the guy in the NBA who virtually never got hurt.
I think last year was the first year he played every single game.
Yes.
So, I mean, he's getting old. I mean, you got to get some young guy as well to, stick there, maybe recruit some other guys. And maybe LeBron might instead try to get Zion. Maybe, LeBron and Rondo at the Duke game. Maybe some recruitment. Maybe some Cam Reddish. Maybe some RJ. Maybe Zion. Maybe trade some picks. The Knicks are going to probably have the first.
Maybe they were looking at someone on Virginia.
Maybe. I don't know about that. DeAndre Hunter.
You never know.
DeAndre Hunter would be the only guy. He's probably the top.
And I doubt LeBron is that interested in him.
Yeah, and, him and Coach K have a huge relationship. So, but, we'll see. Knicks are going to probably have the first pick because they're on the worst losing streak in franchise history.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I don't know what the Lakers are going to give them. I mean, they already tried to trade once and it did not go good. We'll see, though.
That's an understatement.
We'll see. We'll see.
All right. So we haven't discussed soccer in a while.
Take it away, Giovanni. Take away your soccer.
My Cloud 9, as you once called it.
Set your, eighth wonder of the world?
So it's an exciting week for everyone. Champions League hasn't been around since December. It's the week of the year where Champions League comes back. It's the round of 16 games, 2 legs. First one today, big one. Man United takes on PSG.
I go PSG.
And Neymar and Edison Cavani are out, 2 of their forwards. And Neymar's out for both games. Cavani, we'll see.
PSG, I still go with.
Manchester United, under new management, has not lost a single game this year. They are undefeated in 2019.
That's good.
And they've only tied once.
That's
and
good.
they have won 11 games. This team is very scary. And to be honest, I never envisioned this turnaround. I never in a million years thought that with this team.
What happens when you get a new coach?
It looked like the players had given up. It looked like they didn't want to play under Jose Mourinho anymore.
You know, only if the Bulls could do that. That'd be nice.
That would be nice, but I thought that this team had nothing but dead weight. I thought that PSG was going to mop the floor with them, and I think Manchester United could win this game. I absolutely do think this.
What channel? What station is it on for the people that want to watch it?
Well, here
Is it not on national TV?
Here in the U.S., Univision Deportes is one. If you really want to watch it in Spanish,
good. It's not on like TNT or anything.
No, unfortunately.
TBS, ESPN.
Unfortunately, I think
Fox Sports 1. I really love that channel. Come on.
Sorry to tell you, Jack. The Champions League rights are now with Univision Deportes and
so I'm sure
broadcast.
So you'll be watching
Turner.
this on your phone.
Possibly, and by that I mean yes. And it will be on TNT, of course. I am really looking forward to this one. It is at Man United at Old Trafford. I'm really looking forward to this game. It's going to be a good one. And there's other games too. Roma and Porto play today as well. If you're going back to last year, Roma beat Barcelona in the quarterfinals. You might remember.
I don't think they remember though.
You might remember that goal. You might have seen that video on Facebook or on Twitter of the.
Wow, you really went in there, Facebook. Wow.
That's where I first saw it of the commentator. It was Manolas who scored the goal that advanced them to the next round. Look it up; it's great. And for Porto, Hector Herrera of the Mexican national team, he plays for Porto. I'm really interested to see what he does on the big stage, and I probably won't see that much of that game because that's today. It's at 2:00. Manchester United also plays at 2:00, so I probably won't be watching that.
That's some bad scheduling right there.
Yes, and then tomorrow it's Tottenham versus Dortmund, Borussia Dortmund. That's Pulisic.
He's moving though.
Yes, he is good.
Chelsea.
Yep. Over the summer, he will make his move to Chelsea, and then tomorrow it is Real Madrid and Ajax. So some good games, but this one I only put on here because it's kind of an interesting topic. I was having a debate with my brother on this. He's a big Chelsea fan. Manchester City beats Chelsea a whopping 6-0.
How good is Manchester City?
They're the best team in the Premier League, but Chelsea should not be losing 6-0.
Well, how good is their goalie? Is he like a top goalie in the league?
They signed him for like a ridiculous amount of money over the summer.
That's terrible then. Okay, that's bad.
Okay,
That's bad.
but their manager Sarri came out and said that he cannot get the players motivated. Mm-hmm. Jack, do you think it's part of a manager's job to get his players motivated?
Oh, absolutely. You're a coach. You got to tell your players, look, it's time to step up or sit down, and that's what you got to do.
Yes, indeed. I cannot believe that these players are not motivated, that they're not playing good, because there's one thing I do agree with. Your motivation should be this. Your motivation should be not to lose 6-0, even if it's at Manchester City. That's awful. That's terrible. They are now in 5th place. This team looked pretty good at the beginning of the season. They shocked a lot of people. A lot of people did not expect them to be in the top 4, and now they're kind of proving everyone wrong, like me. And the one debate I was having with my brother, he told me that it's not the manager's job to motivate the players that they're playing for, that they're getting paid millions of dollars. What motivation do you need?
Yeah.
I could see that argument, but I just don't understand. And Man City's back in first place. That does upset me.
Let's swing to the NBA, as this week is the NBA All-Star Game, and the NBA All-Star Draft was last Thursday, I'm pretty sure. Probably the funniest part was LeBron taking Anthony Davis right away.
Not right away. It was not the first pick.
The first pick, he could take him in the reserves. That's what I mean.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I mean. Because in the draft, you only can pick the starters. Then you can go to reserves. And his first reserve pick was
Anthony Davis.
And it's funny.
Is that tampering?
And I want to say this: all the guys he's picked almost are free agents. Could be free agents this year.
James Harden's under contract through 2030. So
he's not going anywhere.
Yeah, but he will be a free agent. You never know.
I'm still mad about the NBA All-Star. They did not put Luka Doncic in there. I'm very upset about that. That kid has...
Jack's a big Luka Doncic
I am. And you know what he said? He said it's easier scoring in the NBA than in the Euro leagues.
That is...
And he hit Harden step back on Harden last night. But I think Doncic deserves to be in the All-Star game. He's definitely unanimous with Rookie of the Year. I think we can both agree on.
No doubt.
This kid is going to be something. Once he gets Porzingis with him next year, healthy, it's game over. Not game over, but I think the Mavs are definitely going to be on an incline. And the trade deadline is done, and team that we probably think has won is the 76ers after, they traded Markelle Fultz for picks, and then they get Tobias Harris to kind of complete that fit five-man lineup. Are the 76ers a team to beat in the East after getting Tobias and Boban?
I mean, to me this year, there's no team in the East that really has elevated themselves above everyone else.
The Bucks. They're the best team in the NBA right now. What's record-wise?
That's debatable, but that team does not have much experience in the playoffs. The one thing I can trust with the Celtics is they have experience in the playoffs. The one thing I can trust with the Raptors, despite... There's no LeBron in the East anymore, so they can't lose to LeBron, and they have Kawhi Leonard, who's an experienced player.
So it's like Kawhi.
Giannis has never even won a playoff series, I believe. So
it gets the best of them.
I need to see that first.
So has the East replaced the West for best conference? As you know, the West would always have the teams that were really good, and the East would have teams that aren't that good. But I think the script has changed this year.
Indeed.
I think the East is the best conference.
Remember when people wanted to change the playoff format and have it just be teams 1 through 16, just the 16 best teams in the NBA?
And we talk about the East. Now we can talk about the Nets. They're the 6th seed. We can talk about...
D'Angelo Russell has resurrected his career.
Oh, my gosh. He has done more than Russell. He took a new career. But, I think the East has definitely replaced the West because... It's more competition in the East. I mean, the West, you got, So we're going to go to the Double J list. We kind of talked about the MVP candidates, so we're going to name our top 3 in order MVP candidates going to the All-Star break. Number 1 for me is James Harden. This dude's been unreal the whole year. I don't know. It just came out of nowhere. He's been on fire. He's averaging 38 points and 4 assists, or 7 assists a game. Number 2, I'd go with got to go with Paul George. After this late spurt he's had, I really think he's going to keep it up. And when you have a guy like Russell Westbrook who gets double-teamed mostly, you're going to get the ball. Paul George will get the ball. And number 3, I really think this one's up for grabs because there's a lot of players trying to make a move. But I do give it to Joel Embiid. He deserves a lot of credit. He's averaging about 26 points a game. He had 42 against the Lakers the other day. He averages about 11 or 12 rebounds a game, and he's averaging about 5 or 6 assists a game. So if I'm going in order, number 1, James Harden, number 2, Paul George, and number 3, Joel Embiid. I think it's time the big man wins an MVP. I think it's time.
I think it is too, but I do not think it's going to happen this year. My top 3, number 1, this is tough. I'm going to go with James Harden.
Yeah.
His play. I never really thought that James Harden's play style really translates well come playoff time.
I might interrupt you. But I don't know how he makes those shots at times. The guy is literally in his face. He just hits it right over.
But again, I don't think his play style translates too well come playoff time because the refs are not as forgiving.
He doesn't get the travel call.
He doesn't get the calls that he usually gets. But James Harden has been unbelievable this year. Number 2. I did say Paul George should be an MVP candidate, and I'm not going to put him at 3 either. But number 2,
he is too.
Number 2 is Giannis for me.
Wow.
He's
had a little trouble shooting.
Yeah, just a bit. I think he's been incredible this year. He does deserve some credit. The Bucks are the best team in the East. Yeah. And number 3.
In the NBA, actually, if I can make correct.
Sorry, NBA. And number 3. All right, this one I'm more putting on there. I'm not really dead serious with this, but I think there's a case for it. LeBron James.
Oh my! Wow! I wasn't even thinking about him in my top 5, but I want to hear this. Wow!
MVP is most valuable player.
Oh, this is interesting.
So yeah, once again, it's the most valuable player. The most valuable player to their team to me is someone that if you took them off the team, what are they? You took LeBron James off this team for a month. What were the Lakers?
But I understand that, but you got to realize he was hurt most of the time, and you got to put that in consideration.
I do get that, and that's what I'm saying.
Ooh, that's interesting.
If you take Paul George off the Thunder, they're still a playoff team. If you take Giannis off the Bucks,
I don't know about that. They're maybe like an 8 or 7 seed. Maybe.
And if you take James Harden off the Rockets,
no, they're like a 6 or 7 seed.
But they're still a playoff team. They're still
I think the Lakers can make the playoffs without LeBron. If they had everyone's healthy besides LeBron, yes. If everyone's healthy besides LeBron,
I still don't think so.
I do.
I think this team. Here's the thing about LeBron James teams: they are built for LeBron James, just for LeBron James. And when LeBron leaves,
LeBron's just does this to every team. I don't know why.
He left the Cavaliers in disarray. He left the Miami.
Cavs, they were in disarray before he even left. They were in disarray in this final
have you seen the starting lineup they've put out there?
Jesus.
I showed it to you last week. It's awful.
It is awful.
Rodney Hood is their best player.
Well, they did beat the Lakers this year already.
Without LeBron.
Yeah. Well, that is all for us today. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at the Double J Podcast. We are on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Anchor. Make sure you give us a listen. If you have any comments, things we want to talk about, hit us on that Twitter, like I just said, Double J Podcast. We try to record every Tuesday, depending on weather and other natural stuff. We'll, tweet when we are coming out live, what days. I want to thank you all for tuning into Double J Podcast, presented by Lake Central Media. Have a nice day, everybody.